everybody, and welcome to Perspectives. I'm Sam Jones, and I'm just thrilled to death to have you here today. Before we meet our first guest, there's a little something I need to talk to you about that is very important, especially if you have a cell phone. We're going to show you a text that I got. Take a look at this text. First of all, it's a scam. That is a non-existent organization. They're trying two things. If you call that number, you've made your first mistake, because then they're in your phone. They can hack it. Second, what they're trying to do is to get money from you. You know, if you send them money to clear up whatever problem they're claiming, it's a lie. You just lost the money. So do not respond. Don't open it in your phone, kill it, get rid of it, and you may get it again. But I've yet to see anybody as persistent as this bunch of yahoos has turned out to be. And they're out of Massachusetts, but they can't seem to isolate them. They can't find them. And they may be bouncing their signal. We're not sure. They're not sure. But I wanted to warn you about it in case it pops up on your phone. There you are. Our first guest today is a friend of mine that goes back a few years, Eileen Bradshaw, President and CEO of Life Senior Services. Eileen, good to see you.
Good to see you, Sam.
Good to be seen, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
How are things with the Vintage magazine?
Good, they're busy. I'm really glad that you took a moment about that scam alert, because, you know, we get a lot of calls and we try to cover it in the magazine and in our education. People get scared when they're told they have an unpaid bill and
That's
they want
right.
to respond. And you know, 99.9% of the time, if you owe somebody money, they're not going to text you a link to pay it.
That's right.
So,
and the way that
don't
it's
do it.
worded,
Yep.
it's almost threatening, but not quite.
It terrifies a lot of people.
And we jumped all over it at our house when it came in, and come to find out it was a scam. And they're saying they're trying to isolate it too, and so are the folks, you know, in the Northeast.
Yes.
They can't seem to get it. This is the magazine I want to recommend to you. I got to tell you, there's information in there for all folks, all ages, and it's something you need to have coming to your home. How are things going with the magazine, by the way?
It's good. I think we have I'm really proud of the editorial team. You know, I think they do a great job. Our graphic designer is great. The magazine that you're holding up is an issue where we were featuring Cheech Marin. We have a good partnership with Tulsa Town Hall, so it gets access to interviews to some really cool people. So I love the magazine because, to your point, you know, it's geared for seniors, but we have young folks that read it, and even if you think 50 to 100, that's essentially 3 generations. So we work really hard to make sure it has broad appeal.
Well, I know when you stepped in, when you took over, you went from the frying pan to the fire because you were with the food bank.
Yes, sir.
Then you went into this, and I thought at the time, bless her heart, she's going to turn gray.
And right here, we have living proof.
Cheech, of course, is from Cheech and Chong. That's where everybody knows him from. What are the biggest obstacles you face in putting this together?
Well, truthfully, you know, print is expensive and mailing is expensive. So we don't have any lack of interest, I'm happy to say. You know, I'll be at the grocery store and somebody I've never met will flag me over and say, gosh, I love this magazine. So we're really happy about that, and we're really happy about the caliber of writers that are willing to work for what we're able to pay. But as print costs go up and mailing costs go up, you know, I think most print publications feel that squeeze.
Sure, and we're under a new administration, and Lord knows where that's going to end up going.
On so many fronts.
Yeah, on so many fronts. You don't solicit ideas from people, but they send them to you, don't they?
Absolutely. I probably get 5 phone calls a month personally with ideas, and I know that other members of our team do as well.
On the front of this one, your next favorite game, finding joy, connecting, challenging. Take your pastimes to the next level and under hobbies. New hobbies for the next year, enrich your life by doing something you love. A lot of people, when they reach a certain age, will just withdraw. And sometimes their children are not as attentive as they should be. I'm not saying this takes the place of the children, but it offers them a way to connect with others their age or younger.
I personally think, Life Senior Services has a myriad of services, right? Some of them are really fun, and some of them are maybe less fun, but very important. But if you look across every one of our service lines, to me, what we're really offering is connection. Because isolation, to your point, is the enemy of healthy aging. And so offering people ways to connect, whether it's the Active Senior Center or Adult Day Health or Medicare assistance or the magazine or volunteering, any of those things, as long as you stay engaged and plugged in. I mean, you said you're 81 and you're here doing perspectives. You're incredibly engaged in the world around you, and it shows. And not everybody has the opportunity to have a TV show, but just even getting out and taking a class or volunteering, really can forestall some of the negative effects of aging. And sometimes children are well-meaning. They may be really engaged with their parents, but they're a little overprotective, and they're saying, no, you don't need to drive here, you don't need to go there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that backfires and really creates a more isolated environment than I think they want.
Well, I will tell you, I'll fess up here. Down the road, I can see a time coming when I shouldn't be driving. And I know it. And I think one of the hardest things I went through in my current life was when we had to take the keys away from my mother.
It's very hard.
Mom was, I'm going to do it my way type, A personality. And I had to bring in a friend of hers to help us convince her it was time to stop driving. And I know you've addressed these things in this magazine. There are so many things you've addressed.
We actually have independent case managers that can work with caregivers, like practice that conversation. There's driving schools where you can take your loved one to actually undergo a driving test, so then it takes all of the some of the heat off of you as the child, because there's empirical evidence that maybe they shouldn't be driving. So a lot of difficult conversations we address in the magazine, but we also have human independent case managers that can walk you through that journey.
I have to share with you something that happened to me personally. I have a hearing problem. And so my doctor recommended I have my hearing checked. I went in, I had my hearing checked, and sure enough, in one ear, I've got a problem. And it turns out that years ago, I used to wear a thing called an IFB. It's an earpiece, so the control room could talk to me, changes I needed to make, and I'd follow directions. And without a volume control on that thing, it just go bam, like that. Well, it's like firing a gun next to your head. You do that for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and I've been in this business over 50 years. It took a toll. And I found out that people with hearing problems, if they don't address it, can soon totally withdraw.
Yes.
And then the problems really begin.
And we hear that a lot because people feel isolated. They may go out to dinner with friends and family. They can't hear, so they're not a part of the conversation. They feel slighted because they're not included, and they do withdraw. And hearing aids and devices can be very expensive. So again, that's something that people can pick up the phone and call Life and see if we can help them navigate.
Eileen, how do they get this magazine?
It's at a lot of different locations. You can go to Reesers, a lot of doctor's offices. You can also just call our office, 918-664-9000, or go to lifeseniorservices.org and subscribe. There's no charge I'm sorry, say that again? There is no charge if you live in Oklahoma and you want to subscribe. We do charge out-of-state subscribers, and a lot of people realize that it's expensive to print and they may make a $25 donation, but it's not required.
Okay, listen, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you're doing, because you are making a difference.
Thank you very much.
And the more people I know like that, the better I feel when I go to bed at night. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, Sam, so much.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Willow Rock, and it's going to get interesting.